Hello everyone, Sniping is Fun here, welcoming you all back to yet another Super Smash Bros. Discussion on my YouTube channel. This will be yet another Final Fantasy oriented one. I know I just recently did one the other day talking about Cloud's voice actor, if he should get the English voice actor Cody Christian in the next Smash Bros. Or should they stay Japanese only, because apparently we can't get Steve Burnside. Or Burton. I say Burnside. Burton. Steve Burton. You know, Jason from General Hospital, you know, Kingdom Hearts and all that, Cloud, Evan Children. But yeah, this is another topic I wanted to talk about in terms of Final Fantasy, since I'm already kind of have Final Fantasy on the mind, and I wanted to talk about this discussion and talk about this topic because I do tend to see this mentioned in the Smash Brothers franchise, you know, in terms of speculation. Since we already have Cloud representing Final Fantasy, one thing that always seems to come up in terms of, and I'm playing the Final Fantasy IX digital PS4 version here, and it's so weird seeing this game in widescreen HD with the textures looking this freaking good. But like I said, one thing I tend to get a lot, I get mentioned on, I see mentioned in the Final Fantasy, you know, in terms of Smash Brothers for Final Fantasy, people always speculate on like a next character for Final Fantasy. If you know, they speculate on other characters from the Final Fantasy franchise making it into Smash Brothers. They speculate on other, like, Final Fantasy franchise, you know, games in the series, or even more Final Fantasy VII characters specifically getting into Smash Brothers. And it's like, some people speculate that, some people don't, because sometimes when people speculate Square Enix getting another rep, they always speculate like Sora, or Geno, or Lara Croft, or, you know, Chrono, or anyone else from the franchise. It's not always bringing up another like Dragon Quest character or another like Final Fantasy character, but there are people that bring up Final Fantasy, and I do tend to see, especially people bringing up like other Final Fantasy VII characters like Tifa or Vincent or Barrett in the Smash Brothers, and then sometimes they bring up other Final Fantasy games in general, and I just wonder, like, I'm questioning, like, is that going to make sense, like, for Smash Bros? Like, first and foremost, yes, I think it does, but I personally think it does, but it's like, does Final Fantasy deserve other representation? Does Final Fantasy deserve more characters to represent Smash Bros? Or is Cloud, since he's technically the, and I'm doing this in quotations, mascot of the franchise, even though technically the mascot really is a Moogle or a freaking Chocobo, but in terms of playable characters and you know, actual in playable roster members, like your party members, Cloud is technically the most popular and most iconic of all the friggin' main characters of Final Fantasy, so I can understand why they picked him to be the choice in terms of like in terms of Smash Brothers, you know, representing Final Fantasy. But it's like, I want to be like probably looking at the pros and cons here, like yes and no. I personally say yes, so like, and always like the character videos, I'm going to be talking about that secondary, so I'm going to have to talk about the negatives first and the reasons why not. But like, it's like, should Final Fantasy get more representation after Cloud, or is Cloud perfectly fine for it and then other franchises deserve it, Square Enix or otherwise? And like in my, I say the negative is, and this is my point is this, I would say, I said the negatives against it though, and like reasons why I would say no. Yeah, I'm gonna keep Vivi. But I'd say against it though is like this. First and foremost, in terms of like, you know, third parties, I think before like certain franchises get more regardless of the company they're from, I think there should be other third-party franchises, and specifically third-party characters represented before we start really doubling down on franchises. That's any franchise. That's Mega Man, that's Castlevania, even though they have Echo, like Richter and Simon and whatnot. Mega Man, Sonic, you know, Metal Gear Solid, any of that stuff. I would say Like other franchises deserve it first before we get another Final Fantasy rep. Now, is that a negative against Final Fantasy getting another rep at all? No, but I think before Final Fantasy ever gets like someone else, it should be some other third party should be given a shot to be put in first, and then. And like, and in terms of Square Enix specifically, like I would say before we double rep like Dragon Quest or double rep Final Fantasy, something like a Kingdom Hearts, something like a Chrono, something like a Tomb Raider should probably be represented first before you go into the realm of, hey, look, let's put like Terra or Cecil or Lightning or Noctis or Zidane or Squall or the Hero of Light or Bartz or frickin', you know, Vaughn or anyone in the Smash Brothers. I don't know. In my opinion, the negatives on this can go in one of two ways. A, like Final Fantasy deserves it, a secondary character, but they don't, you know, it shouldn't be getting a secondary character yet. And then there's also negative, they don't deserve it at all, which I find that a little bit more extreme. And there are people out there that I have seen that mention that they think it should be just Cloud and no one else really should get in because Final Fantasy isn't either big enough or Final Fantasy is this, or, you know, other third parties are more important to Nintendo or whatever. But in terms of third parties that are important to Nintendo, I'd say Final Fantasy is one of them. But yeah, whatever, you know, tomato, whatever. But I would say, like, there's the negatives against Final Fantasy ever getting another rep post Cloud. I think what's hurting it is like I said, there's two negatives to that. Oh god, I forgot how ugly she is. There's two possible reasons. Like, there's two possible reasons to say no to it. A, represent some other franchise first, whether Square Enix, like other Square Enix franchises or other third parties. Or B, it shouldn't get it at all. Final Fantasy's cool if just Cloud, and let's just represent other Square Enix franchises, other third parties. And then the negative against that is, like, the main reason I think a lot of people like also don't want another Final Fantasy character is how Cloud is handled in the game, how Final Fantasy VII is Cloud, and how Square Enix is literally. Like, I don't know, I think it's Square Enix that pretty much did it, but Cloud only has like 2 songs, 1 stage. Cloud doesn't even have his English voice actor. You know, the way Final Fantasy VII was represented in Smash Bros. 4 and Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's pretty much the same thing. They haven't really added anything besides pretty much, I think, like some spirits. They added more spirits, and there's like some, I think they had a special event for some Final Fantasy characters before, just like they did for like Resident Evil and other, you know, franchises, Nintendo or otherwise. It's like, I think a lot of people say no because they feel it's going to be screwed over regardless of why add another character when, oh, we might only get 1 or 2 songs. Like, Final Fantasy is known for music, and it's sad that really it's only the battle theme that's in the Final Fantasy VII stage. No Chocobo theme, no main theme, no Aerith theme, no One-Winged Angel, nothing. It's only just like the basic bare minimum. The stage is also not really that interesting. Cloud doesn't have Steve Burton voicing him. You know, it's just a Japanese voice actor. It seems like the way Square does stuff, but they also, at the same time, people, I don't know, they allowed more for Dragon Quest, so I have no idea there. So it's like, in terms of the negatives and the cons and the, you know, against the reason of giving Final Fantasy another representation in Smash Brothers is usually because people just don't want to see the like insert character not get represented well enough, or also they feel other franchises deserve it more, or other Square Enix franchises deserve it more, or what the heck else ever. I don't know. Like I said, I question it because like I said, I'm gonna be jumping on the positives in 1 second, but I question the negatives because like almost every third party in Smash Bros. I feel deserves a secondary character. Some of them already do because, you know, Echoes or whatever. Like Cloud, you know, Ryu has Ken, Simon has Richter, you know, stuff like that. But like all the other third parties, like I could easily see it, like Mega Man getting a secondary character, Sonic getting a secondary character, freaking even Persona Joker could get a second character. I mean, I'm not specifically saying Persona 5, but some sort of Persona Shin Megami Tensei kind of character. Sega technically does have 2 characters because, like, I mean, Sonic specifically was what I was talking about before, but Joker is technically a Sega character because Atlas is owned by Sega now. So it all depends on how you look at it and who you think truly deserves it. More iconic old school characters, more new third parties, more popular third parties, more Nintendo oriented third parties. It can go any which way, I think, really. But the negatives really do kind of confuse me a little bit because, I mean, I understand the complaint of, like, well, how Cloud's handled and what they have given us for representation, which it does irk me a lot, and a lot of people a lot, that the music selection in the Midgar stage is kind of crappy, and, you know, the lack of an English voice actor, and the lack of them doing anything really to Cloud besides just bringing him back in Smash Ultimate with the same stuff he's pretty much had in Smash Brothers. Like 4, that didn't really change too much the representation besides a couple more spirits and stuff like that, with the inclusion of spirits and stuff, which I think is, I don't know, I've never really looked too much into like the Final Fantasy spirits in that game, so I have no idea if they add anything or whatnot through events. But like I said, the negatives are bad, and like I said, I can see where some people are coming from because other third parties deserve it first. I don't really see the people that think Final Fantasy shouldn't get any more characters whatsoever, because I do definitely think that is a very Nintendo-oriented third party. But I could see where they're at least coming from is like represent other franchises first, Square or otherwise, and then come back to Final Fantasy. But like I said, I don't get the people that just don't want it at all or don't think it deserves it at all. And I do somewhat understand the people that are like a little irksome, like, okay, Square's a little hard to work with, they might screw it over and not represent it well enough. Let's just cut the middleman out and worry about other companies that might get, like SNK, that gives their, like Harry Bogard, like 50 plus goddamn songs. I don't know. But seriously though, that's the negatives. The positives, though, yes, I truly believe Final Fantasy deserves at least one more character. It is a long-running RPG franchise, Square Enix, very Nintendo-oriented. A lot of the ones that came out on the PlayStation post, you know, the whole N64 screw job, Square Enix jumping to PlayStation, are now coming to Nintendo and have been on Nintendo. 10, 10-2, 7, 8, 9, 12... are all pretty much on Nintendo. 13 hasn't made the jump yet. Neither of the 11 or 14 MMOs have made the jump yet. 15 has a stupid portable version. I would love to see the main Final Fantasy 15 on a Nintendo system. But Square Enix has started getting more as, like, you know, like, they have been getting back on Nintendo. The relationships with Nintendo are better, and in terms of an iconic third-party franchise, it is definitely up there, and especially one that has super high Nintendo, you know, like hype behind it, Nintendo like relevance, and in terms of a third party that's been around since frickin'. And I've just I realized just how creepy these characters look now with the Super HD stuff on it. It's really weird, especially that guy on the left with his bloody yellow eyes. Well, like I said, though, there's an iconic third-party franchise that has Super Nintendo orientation. There's other characters. Now, whether or not you want the next Final Fantasy rep, if it ever does get one, which it should, to be straight up just another Final Fantasy character, or from some other Final Fantasy in general, which I personally would pick the latter. I think Cloud's fine on his own. We don't need Barrett. We don't need Tifa. We don't really need Yuffie or Red 13 or anyone. Or Sephiroth, even. I would rather, if Final Fantasy ever did get another character specifically, I would rather see, like, oh look, another, I'd rather see Zidane here, but that's also very fanboyish of me and very, like specifically me, because this was my first ever Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy IX was my first Final Fantasy game, so I have, like, a special, like, sense of nostalgia for Zidane. But, like, Squall, Tidus, Vaughn, Lightning, Noctis, Cecil, Terra, Bart, the Hero of Light. I forgot the character from 2 and 3. Like, one of them, I don't know. It's like, there's so much iconic characters you can get away with and representing more Final Fantasy than just one singular game. So I don't really know. It's just like, in my opinion, it does deserve at least another character. when and where, if I don't know about Smash Ultimate with the remaining DLC, but like it's Smash 6 the next Smash Bros. Smash 6, or maybe 7, 8, 9, sure, whatever. I don't know, but like I said, it all is dependent on what you're looking at and how they represent it. And people that use the negative thing and go, well, Final Fantasy VII has 2 songs and no English voice actor cloud, and Square Enix just doesn't care about this stuff. At the same time, and I know it's different creators because Squaresoft, Enix, Dragon Quest, like the hero and the DLC, actually got about 8 songs, 4 different costume characters, all which are their own different voice actors, a stage that's decently unique, although I think one of the weakest of the season of the first Fighter Pass. But like Square Enix gave like Dragon Quest a lot of love, not the most amount of love, but certainly more love than Final Fantasy VII, which is definitely probably Noboru, probably like the creator or something. Like there's definitely probably like different people in Square that do stuff like that. I definitely would say, I don't know. I definitely would say represent other franchises. Other represent franchises too, but also try to give like Square Enix their other, like give like Final Fantasy its one franchise, at least one more rep, and like it. I think it deserves it because I think they would give it more love, and it's depending on the creators, and it depends on how well they insert this next character compared to how they've been treating Cloud, how they might improve Cloud in the next game because maybe different voice actors or different people having a say on how to represent him if he even makes it in the next Smash Brothers. So yeah, with that being said, I personally, my personal choice, yes, and they should. And my personal probably top 3 choices, because of them being iconic, I would say definitely Tara Branford or Cecil Harvey. Final Fantasy 4 and 6 being Super Nintendo oriented classic ones, I would definitely pick one of them. Or probably more of a recent one, maybe like Noctis, because he is kind of fairly popular. Or at the time when the next Smash Bros. Comes out, there'll probably be Final Fantasy 16 or 17 or something too. So maybe pick a character from one of those as advertisements, because one of them might be on the Switch or the Switch successor or something, so I have no idea. So with that being said, my name is Snipers Fun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day. And put in the comment section, should Final Fantasy get at least one more rep? Should Final Fantasy get more reps in Smash Bros., or would you want to represent other Square Enix franchises first, or not? Other third parties or other companies, or what the heck else ever? Put in the comment section below and discuss it there. My name is Snipers Fun. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day. See you later in the next video. Bye, everyone.